Applying for a Mead Fellowship, Webinar 3, General Guidelines. This webinar is presented by Jane Dalby, Mentoring and Projects Coordinator,
and Charlene Springer, Employability and Progression Assistant.
You can email us at mead@arts.ac.uk.
What we'll cover in this webinar, we'll give you a reminder of what the Mead Fellowships are for, look at writing strong applications, some do's and don'ts, and frequently asked questions.
General guidelines. Always read and understand what any award is for before you apply, because if your proposal is outside the remit of the award, it just won't be selected. So don't try to squeeze a round peg into a square hole. If the project and the award are not a good fit, don't waste your time.
The Mead Fellowships are available to students and recent graduates to extend and develop their practice, expertise, and personal development. So just to recap, fellowships are for arts practice or research projects, which can be in any creative discipline studied at UAL. The projects must help extend your creative practice and add to your professional development, and must add to your industry, discipline, or sector. If you are awarded, you'll need to complete your project between September and July, starting in the year you receive the award. You can check all deadlines on our webpage.
So what will the Mead Fellowships fund? Costs can only be for the project. Please see webinar 1 for more details. Your costs can't be retrospective, and fellowships don't provide seed funding for business startups, as the project must end in July the following year. You can't pay a fee to yourself or members of your team, and you can't pay for course fees. We don't allow any single item of equipment costing over £500. The sum of all equipment purchases must be under 30% of the total request. Writing strong applications.
To write a strong application, you need to answer all the questions and each bullet point, make your proposal feasible and your skill set clear, and be clear and concise. You must keep to the word count.
So what are the shortlisting panel looking for? First impressions. Make them want to read more about it. Don't use descriptive language that you can't back up. If you're going to use the words exciting, thrilling, horrific, calming, unique, you must be able to say how this result will be achieved within your audience. Clarity is the key to success. Don't leave obvious questions unanswered or confuse the reader. Answer the exact questions that are asked. Don't go off on a tangent. You will only be marked on the information that answers the question which has been asked. Show that you have the skills and experience to complete this project successfully, and tell us how you'll learn and how this project will contribute to your journey as an artist and maker. So what language should I use? Use plain English. Avoid art speak or jargon. Don't be vague. Make your answers very explicit and answer the questions that are actually being asked. Make it easy for others to trust in you and invest in your proposal. You can check out the Hemingway app, which will help you to write with clarity. You can find it at hemingwayapp.com.
Make sure you get rid of all spelling mistakes and any grammar errors, as these will weaken your application. You should read, reread, and edit your answers. Get someone to proofread your application to make sure it makes sense and you have answered all the questions. If possible, it's a good idea to ask one arts person and one non-arts person to make sure it's clear. When you have a final version, give it to someone else again to proofread. To succeed as a creative, it's not necessary to have perfect spelling or excellent grammar, but it is important to show you have planned thoroughly, are professional, and can identify when you need to ask others for support.
Do's and don'ts.
You should think of this as the first Arts Award application you will make. It's a learning experience, developing your skills to write in a concise way and describe projects clearly. Use it as an opportunity to showcase your skills, aims, and suitability. Imagine you are a judge, handing out your own money as awards. What would you be looking for? You should also say things with impact, revise and refine what you write, use as few words as possible to make your point, and always comply with the word count. Ensure all basic information is correct, as within each batch of applications, we find at least one with an email that has been typed incorrectly. And again, show your application to someone else. Ask if they have any questions or spot any errors.
So let's look at some don'ts. Don't exceed the word count or forget to correct your spelling mistakes. Don't provide an email that you rarely check or a phone number you don't often use. And don't email a question to us on the Friday or the weekend before the deadline, as our office hours are Monday to Thursday. Don't add in items which would be unreasonable to support or an unrealistic budget. And don't include unnecessary travel. For example, can any part of this project be done remotely? Do you really need to be there? Remember, please don't be despondent if your application doesn't go through to stage 2. It doesn't mean that your project idea isn't good or won't be funded elsewhere. Arts fundraisers submit applications to multiple sources for each project, and success rates vary. One success in 10 would be considered quite normal. You will become more successful with practice. For other resources on arts funding, see artscouncil.org.uk, and don't give up.
Now we're going to look at some frequently asked questions. I missed the deadline. Can I have an extension? Can I add extra information to my application?
No, sorry. In the interests of fairness and for practical reasons, we can't accept late or revised applications after the deadline.
Who will own the IP of my work?
You own the intellectual property of your work, but you also grant us the right to reproduce materials that you've provided to us free of charge and at any point in the future.
If you have any more questions, you can join our live question drop-ins in January or email us at mead@arts.ac.uk. Thank you for listening to our webinar.
And best wishes with developing your proposal.